Hi Stampin' friends, tonight I'll be using the Sparkle of the Season bundle. It was a gift from one of my customers, Connie Westhoff. I appreciate it very much, Connie. This stamp set goes through the seasons. It has things for Halloween, like little bats, and you can't see it here, but it has a die-cut broom, and let me see if I can open it up so that I can show you. So it has a little die-cut broom, and it has like a little ring of stars and a pumpkin. So to me, the set is really useful, and you can go from, all 3 of the months, October, November, and December with this set. So tonight I'm going to show a few things that I tried. Not all of them are worked out. So sometimes I like to show you that occasionally things are not what I'm hoping for when I start out. So let's get started. So this die cuts out holly and evergreen, and then this one cuts out what kind of looks like a rope and leaves. So I kind of feel like this one is probably supposed to be for Halloween, like as if all of the Halloween things are kind of caught up in this, almost like a little web of magic, kind of. But I wanted to try it, and I'll show you what happened when I did. I wanted to try it as a Christmas card because it does have these snowflakes over here that can be put in. And so I was like, well, what if I did the swirly and then I did stars and snowflakes? Well, that got kind of, that kind of is not what I was hoping for when I started this. But I tried that, and then I tried it with just these little stars. And I kind of think that if you had another snowflake or two, that this actually would be really cute. With this little, you could do it in silver or whatever, and I think that could be really sweet. So I did kind of like this, kind of the way that it, the way that this one looked. So I'll just have to play with it a little bit. I've had my background be the little snowflakes. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, I thought that could be cute. So I will just have to play with this a little more, just because I didn't like the first thing I tried. I can stick with it and try to find something there that will work for me. So then the next thing I did was kind of imagine about Thanksgiving. So it is really simple with these to cut these adorable little pumpkins. And so I kind of like a little bit of green still on my little sets. So now I had seen this on cream, but I kind of wanted to show you all that it looks great on white as well. So just kind of wanted you to see that you can start it out here and make this kind of a focal point and add some of these little leaves. So you could make it where they're just kind of around the pumpkin, some more kind of fall colors like that. And then, for my taste, I usually like to leave it at an odd number of leaves. But there, I think you can see kind of how one way to do it is to make a clump. Okay, so then another way to do it, and I'll go ahead and do this on the beige, and you can decide which one you think looks prettier, whether you think it looks better on the very vanilla or the basic white. Another thing I wanted to show you about this is they do tend to kind of have a little bit of an obvious repeat. So you don't want to put them right on top of each other at their repeat, because that's a little boring. So I think that it's best to offset them and put so that they aren't just exactly the same on top of each other, if that makes sense. So there is that. And then what I was imagining you could do instead, if you didn't care for the clump or just needed another look, I thought it might be nice to space out the pumpkins here and there, and then add the leaves just wherever, like any place that it looks like there's not a lot of leaves, and there are several places like that, and you could just add those in till you were happy with it. So you could even get to the point where it's, you know, most of the thing is covered with leaves. But with this one, I would add a little more than just 5. Just another one there. A couple more of these orange ones. Like that. Orange one there. And then maybe a purple one up here because we don't have any purple. That general area. Okay, so there you can see how I would kind of think it looks nice to have the whole entire wreath filled with leaves. So, and you can put thankful for you, or you can put thanks, something like that at the bottom, and that's super cute. All right, so then I was thinking about Christmas. And so the first thing I did was I wanted to use it with some designer series paper. Now this is the Painted Season designer series paper, but almost any background type designer series paper with some green in it will look nice. And so this one is fairly simple. I just have cut one time with the green, with the color that the card base is, which in this case is Evening Evergreen. And then I cut one time with Garden Green, just to have a little bit of depth of color under it. It's a little hard to see in this light. I apologize. I think I'll be back to my other room next week. But then I did the stars in the gold, and I think that kind of added. Then I just did a Merry Christmas punched with the tailored tag punch. This is not the Merry Christmas that's in the stamp set. The Merry Christmas that's in the stamp set is very long, and I'll show it to you in just a second. And then I added this little bow with the red satin ribbon, and I think that it just kind of makes a nice simple card that, you know, now it's starting to get a little bit close for Christmas. So I think that it's a lot of fun to make them that look nicer than the time that they take. I think we're kind of to that point now. So that's what's good about this one. This is 3 runs through the Big Shot with this, and then a punch. So that is less than it is sometimes. All right, so now I'm going to do a couple more things. Let's see if I brought over the right stuff that I needed for this. I may not have. Yeah, I was going to do a little stamping. I was going to show some stamping here, but I did not get over here with the piece of paper I needed. Wait, this might be one. And it's not. But I can probably still use it to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so for this one, all I did was stamp. I stamped the sentiment, which is the Merry Christmas, and this is the one that comes with it. It's nice and long. And then I stamped the swirl in our old olive, and then I stamped a bow image in both in Shaded Spruce and in Garden Green. And then I just did the little pine cones in soft suede. So even though I didn't bring over the right paper, oh wait, I think I may have, nope, that's still not it. I will just go ahead with this one, and I think it'll be big enough that I can show you. No, here we go. Get a really big piece so I won't have to worry that I'm going to get off the paper. And then I'll be able to cut it down later. Okay. So what I wanted to do was just show you how I did it, because it was simpler than I thought it might be going to be, because I get a little nervous sometimes when not nervous, like real nervous, like I get concerned that I'm not going to end up with my card looking nice when I stamp directly on the main part of the stamp. So what I'm doing here, since I know that I'm going to end up cutting this a little bit, I'm just going to try to keep it the same distance from the edge as it is on this other card that I'm using. So I'll just pop it kind of right there. And then I have this garden green ink pad, and I apologize, I need to clean my block here. I just have this bow that kind of has one going down and one going up. It'll be easier to see when I start stamping. So I just used that as a guide. And if you've seen this stamped before, I'm sure that this is the way they talked about to use this, because it is so nice and simple. You just turn your paper and fill in the spots with your pine boughs. And the way I have it on the side here, I think makes it easy as well to get it just like you want it. Okay, so now that looks a little bit sparse, as could be expected. But what I would do now is go back on the spots and stamp in between where I stamped last time. So let's see, there's one. Needs a spot. And then maybe one right over here. Okay, so I might come back with that color again, but I'm gonna use the garden green because it's kind of lighter and gives kind of a soft and easy look here. So I'm just gonna choose a couple more spots. And the reason I like to use two colors when I'm doing one of these is because it kind of just adds dimension and depth. And you could even use more colors. You could go back in with more old olive, which I may do. I'm trying to decide here how I feel about that. And I like how it just kind of adds depth. And as I was saying earlier, this is one that is kind of starting to be quick enough that you could use it, even though it's getting kind of starting to get a little close on getting your Christmas cards done in time. Okay, so I'm going to go in with some old olive because I do like old olive. Let's try to put a couple here and there. Maybe not every spot like I alternated these, but just in the spots that look like they need some more color or some more color variation. One right up here. And what I like about this is the way that it fills in the center in a way that does not look, it's not even, it's not perfect. And I kind of like that because it gives it a little more variety. So I stamped this one a little heavier, a few more times than I stamped the original one. So that's just kind of a different way of doing it as well. And now I'm just going to go around and add a few pine cones. And if this doesn't look dark enough to you, you could, of course, use the early espresso. I just kind of like the, and I like how it kind of looks like it's peeking as well. The soft suede, because it's not a super dark color. Okay, so there you can see I've added some of those, and I'm going to put one more up here. So you could put like little bits more, I think, just here and there. And it just kind of adds, oops, that wasn't good, caught the side there, right on the very last one. Isn't that how it always goes? I would ruin it at the last minute. But you can see there how simple that was, and I stamped way more than this one in very little time. And it was kind of an enjoyable thing to do, so I liked that. And then this last one I wanted to show you, actually it's kind of two. On this one I used the, gosh, what is that one called? It has the boughs on it as well. But you could also use the evergreens. That would be really pretty. Now, one thing, trying to find something to cut this Merry Christmas out, the only thing that I really liked that I had is this stitch rectangle, and it is almost 4 inches wide. So to me, it's a little bit much. So what I wondered is if I could use this under it here to kind of make it pop and put it directly on the card. So, you know, you could still make this a layer as well, but I just kind of like how it looks with the added contrast, and then the white is still there to kind of show it, make it show off, because if you just put it on there, of course, that's kind of terrible. But you could also use a bigger piece, a bigger circle, if you think that might work better. And you'll be surprised if you have this particular set of dies, the difference in the way it looks, depending on which one, like if you just cut 3 different nice little colors that you like, which one you put on the top makes a big difference in almost in the mood of the, because like that's, to me, that's a little bit bland because it's, I put the one on top that is the color of the card base. So to me, I like either the Old Olive or the Evening Evergreen on top. And I am having a little bit of trouble here getting these lined up. But when I'm ready to put these on, what I will do is I'll just use this Mono Multi green capped glue, and I'll just go around and dot all these little places. I'll go around what I can, but I don't want to have enough that it will make a mess, that it'll come out of my wreath. So what I'll do is just little tiny dots and little tiny, like, okay, did you see that? I mean, just a little smidge, just barely. And if you're having trouble, if yours kind of is running out too much, you can always get a toothpick, make a blob on a piece of paper and use your toothpick to put it on, because this is a really tiny thing. Now, our adhesive sheets work as well, but that's another run through the big shot for me that I don't really want to spend the time on. So to me, I like to use my adhesives that that are quicker like this. I mean, this would take me no time, and I've got enough on that it's going to stick down. So let's pretend that I'm finished with that. I've got a couple here. I need to take the little pieces off. And then I would just stick these down one at a time, you know, putting the adhesive on. And again, varying where they meet up together. And then this also comes with these little berries. So you could put a grouping of berries here. And I think I didn't cut my holly, but there's also some adorable little holly. So imagine this is holly. And then these cherry cobbler berries with it. So that'll be green later. One of my other greens that I used. And then you can just kind of put either glue dots might be best on this, or you could put your adhesive and put on some little berries. And you might put them in groups of 3 because that's kind of a typical thing we do. Whoops, dropped one. Oh, that kind of would be a cute place for it, kind of not so perfect, but anyway. You could also, I think, add a little bit of ribbon. Now, I used cherry cobbler quite a bit on this, and we have this cherry cobbler ribbon that's edged in gold. So you can just make a bow out of this, I think, and you could wind it through like we would really do if we were making our own wreath. But to me, making a bow, a lot of times, ooh, I kind of messed that up. How about let's try again? We will cut that. Oh, look why I messed it up. This, sometimes in your ribbon, this is the splice. This is where they attach 2 of the big gianty bolts together. So I'm just gonna pop that right on off there. I was like, why will this not stay? That's why it would not stay. Okay, so now I will try again. Oh, much better. Too funny that I took so long to notice that. Sorry. Okay, so once you've made your bow, you just want to trim the ends these scissors may not be very sharp. Seems like they are not quite sharp enough. So I will probably get some others later. Okay. So then maybe you could just pop that bow right up on top. And this is a relatively simple card that really does need, in my opinion, the white in the center. So if you wanted to, you could also, instead of this Merry Christmas, you could put another sentiment inside. You could also put an image inside, some kind of a little, maybe a little bird or something like that. This would look really cute with some red cardinals in the things. It doesn't come with the set, but it would be really cute. So there are a ton of different things that you can put on here. You could also stamp, again, the pine cones and put a couple of those on. So, but what I liked about this is just there's something about putting the green against the green, but then having the white in the center that I really liked for some reason. So maybe it's just, I'm just having a weird, weird thought process right now. And I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.